this computer. Perfect. All right, now let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so it is the end of January. Tomorrow we do start a new month, which means from a strat sense, the quarter now uncouples from the month, or month uncouples from the quarter, whichever way you want to look at it. But I'm excited because now we get to see what the monthly traders really are doing and what the quarterly traders really are doing. Now we have the different participation groups showing, what they want to do. All right. Um, if you don't know what uncoupling is, I think I have a video on it. I think Biker may have done a video on it as well. My video is somewhere in education, or check my YouTube. It's been a while since I've done it. If not, there's definitely other videos out there. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, only check with mine. All right. So by now, you should have finished the Zen Trader. Okay. The next book that I'm going to recommend and put out there, I think is one that Sal had talked about. I think it's, I can't remember the 10X rule, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's the exact title of it. The 10X rule. So we're going to go ahead and start that for the month of February. Because, we definitely trying to grow, right? I have not read it yet. I'm going to keep it a stack. But I do look forward to reading it. But just to summarize everything that you should have learned in Zen Trader, I kind of put together a quick little, I guess, summary, if you will, not going chapter by chapter, but just some of the key concepts that I have taken from it. One, emotional detachment, right? Zen trading kind of emphasizes on the importance of separating your emotions from your trading decisions, right? Which is also part of why we say don't trade with money that you're emotionally tied to. Like if it's a bill, if it's bill money, if it's something that you really need to make, you need to make that money in order to get this for your child or get this for whatever. Like if you're emotionally tied to it, you should not trade it whatsoever. Anything that you put into the market, you need to be emotionally detached from. And when you're emotionally detached from it, it helps to avoid impulsive reactions to any market fluctuations, right? And I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I'm pretty sure somebody in the group, not this group currently listening, but somebody inside of Zamunda, and then, by extension, pretty much every Discord, somebody in every Discord um, was emotional today with the fluctuations of the market, right? We had a couple moments where we were up, then we were down, then we went right back up, and then we went right back down. And I'm pretty sure that somebody got clapped. Probably worse off more than once, right? They probably guessed the wrong side the first time, and then to try to make up for it, they got emotional and jumped in again and got it wrong a second time. And yeah, like I saw earlier on Twitter, somebody clearly was emotionally tied to that trade, ended up losing about 8 grand, right? Um, and again, that's not to point anybody out. That's not to make fun of them or anything like that. That's just simply to say, that probably happened because they were emotionally tied to the results, right? They probably got super happy and super tied into the money that they could have made. So therefore, they probably broke their rules, risking more than what they should have. So when you're emotionally detached from these trade decisions, it allows you, in a sense, to kind of act as if you've taken a cold shower. You know what I'm saying? So you can see the situation for what it really is and make more informed and logical decisions, right? I'm sorry, hold up. I want to make sure that's not for me. Oh, okay. Oh, my bad, my bad. That's Foodmatic giving me the creme brulee recipe. I thought it was something about the video. My bad, y'all. Um, so that's emotional detachment. Second, mindfulness and presence, right? So basically what that just means is just be present of your actions in the market environment, being aware of what the market is doing and what's going on in the environment, will kind of heighten your senses to the point where you'll kind of, I guess, essentially kind of tap into what the market and the market vibe is, which kind of gives you a little bit of an intuition at times as to whether you should jump into a trade or not jump into a trade. Case in point, this is not to toot my own horn, just using it as an example. I typed in earlier in the chat today that, I'm literally going to step away from the charts because Adobe going to make me do something stupid, right? And the something stupid I wanted to do was to jump back into puts for Adobe, right? I eventually got into them after the fact, but if I had jumped in when I had jumped in, Adobe, I think, ended up running back up to like 623, 624, all the way from, I think it was like back at like 613. I would have been in the red. And even if it would have came back down to what it is now, my contract would still be in the red, right? So this is where, again, just being aware and fully present in the moment, not thinking about what the trade could do for you. You're literally seeing things for what they are. Third concept, accepting of the market uncertainty, acceptance, excuse me, of market uncertainty. Basically, in simple terms, it just tells you, like, no matter how sure you are of the way that a trade is going to go, the market's uncertain, right? The setup could be A plus plus plus, and I know some of y'all veterans know what I'm talking about. Like, the setup will be so good, it'll make you go back and look and be like, what the fuck? It was still a good setup. Why didn't it, do what it was supposed to do? But you also you got to take into mind and accept what is true, which is the market is uncertain, right? It's an ever changing, um, in my mind, a living thing, right? And living things, they have a tendency to change. They are unpredictable, all right? Um, Simplicity is another concept. You don't have to make things convoluted. You don't have to make things complicated. Simple setups honestly work best, right? The usually the more complicated the setup is, in my opinion, the higher the chances of that setup not working. But if it's just a simple, straightforward setup that that you see and it, like the back of your hand, that's probably going to be the best setup for you, right? Um, next one is discipline and consistency. The discipline is it's crucial. It's probably going to be the foundation to all of your Zen trading, right? If you don't have, well, actually, really, I'm sorry, the discipline and the consistency is going to be the foundation to all of your Zen trading, and honestly, by extension, to all of your trading period, and your learning, as well too, because motivation, in my opinion, fades, right? Motivation will probably just get your ass in the gym. It's not gonna get you in there on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday. It'll probably get you maybe to Thursday if you're really gung ho about it, right? And then afterwards, you'll probably see the fall off after the weekend. But the discipline and the consistency will have you in there every single day, shooting in the gym every single day, charting every single day, even if you have no intention of trading it, every single day. All right. You have to get to a different level in order to ascend to wherever your personal goals are, which means you got to keep doing things differently. All right. It's the definition of insanity to continuously do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So you have to evolve, you have to get onto a different level. And yeah, that motivation is cool, right? Don't get me wrong, like seeing them 10, 17, $20,000 posts, that's cool. And that's motivating. It's inspirational. Hats off to you. But I guarantee you that's only going to fade after a while, right? The discipline and the consistency is what will get you to where you need to go, excuse me. And then the last two, um, understand that no matter how much you have, and I put in quotation marks, mastered a strategy, you are not done learning and trading, right? There's always going to be ongoing learning. So you need to keep your ego in check and don't think that you know everything. Otherwise, the market will humble your ass really quickly. I've definitely felt that before. All right. You also need to adapt because the market adapts as well too. So there's going to be ever-changing things, new information, new market conditions coming out, right? This is not the same market that we were in last year, February 2022. We have different events going on, different conditions going on, right? So you have to be able to adapt with that and understand that again, that the market's an ever-changing beast. Lastly, self-reflection, reflection, and responsibility. Okay, that's pretty simple and straight to the point, right? It's basically putting a mirror up in front of your face and reflect on what you're doing. And one of the things that I'm going to draw on is what Rose talks about, which is, having a journal. Journal your trades, journal what emotions you were thinking in that moment, whether it goes good or if it goes bad for you, so that you can go back and reflect and like, okay, what's the most common theme of why my trades work, right? What was I feeling in that moment? Was I excited and ready to jump in, or was I looking at it logically? Was I looking at it with a clear sense of awareness? How was I during those trades? All right. And then yeah, being responsible and more importantly, accountable for your actions and accountable for the moves that you've made. All right. It's very easy, and I'm not saying this in a defensive way. It's very easy to blame somebody else for your trades not going well, right? Easy to blame an admin. I've seen it multiple times in different discourse that I've been in. Very easy to blame them, extremely, right? Because it allows you to take zero accountability for your actions and not realize the truth, which is nobody put a gun to your head, right? Nobody proclaimed to be this 100% guru that it's never wrong. And as a matter of fact, if you believe that there's anybody out there like that, like honestly, you probably shouldn't trade, right? So those are the thoughts I just wanted to leave you with. Some of the concepts that I've picked up and learned from the Zen Trader. Really love that book. As a matter of fact, I quickly read it twice. But yeah, really love that book. And honestly, that book is something that you can come back and reference to from time to time, if you ever kind of feel like you're losing your way. All right. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's go over some sectors really quickly, kind of see where the market's at, right? But again, just be aware of the market conditions. Right now, in my opinion, I'm kind of thinking the market is waiting to see what happens with Amazon, Meta, and Apple, right? That'll tell them, how to move forward, right? So in that meantime, right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the sectors. While I am doing that, if you have any tickers again that you want to look at, go ahead and throw them in. Try to give a reason why you're looking at it. We can all look at it together. That's cool. I don't know if Sal's in, but he didn't really give me anything that he was trying to look at.
I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired of trading these all-time high shit. This shit hard as fuck.
Honestly,
it ain't a lot of A+ setups in the market.
What I'm with what Biker has said this in earlier in the beginner chat. He was like, not really a fan of trading like all-time highs or whatever. I prefer retracement. And honestly, I'm not even really looking for the market to tank, but like, god damn, give me a retracement. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, fuck that. Tank the fuck out this bitch.
Because you try to run up the puts, but like something like, because going straight up after, and I'm gonna keep it real. The longer we go up, I feel like the bigger the fall, right? So, I'm not saying that's a guarantee, y'all, but just from experience and what I've seen before, the longer we go up, the bigger the fall, in my opinion. All right, so take a quick look at the Qs. All right. So again, I know this is
man. Look here, the Q's been out. my consistent payer.
Yeah, the
You know,
Q's. So yeah, because the Q's is pretty much pure tech.
yeah,
And honestly, that's what helped me with that Adobe. Like seeing this helped me with the Adobe trade as well too, because I know Adobe's up in here as far as part of one of them. Um, what was I gonna say? So, I mean, I'm not gonna go too far in depth because again, anything could pretty much change. But when you look at, with the exception of the year, the quarter, and the month, yeah, hybrid time frames, 3 week, the week, the 3 day, because we do get a new 3 day candle. That's why I'm looking at the 3 day, the daily, and then this is equivalent to the 4 hour, just a little bit over the 4 hours, but this is equivalent to that. Yeah, man. I mean, I know people saying like we gonna run up, but like the strat in me is seeing shooters. I'm seeing reversals. We're at the top of a range. And again, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm just one of the principles of the strat is that we are not subjective, we're objective. We take what we see to be true. And so what I'm seeing right now is, yeah, unless something drastically changes by the end of the week, I mean, yeah, I see the Qs dropping. Next target on the weekly is back down to 400. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm seeing, right? If anybody has any other alternative, I'm all ears, right? But there's a couple gaps along the way down here. Let's see if I can stretch that. So there's a like little small gaps like 415 to 413, and then there's another little small one right here as well too. As well too. So basically some small gaps that essentially would take it down to 405, down to 400. Sell side liquidity, shit, ICT concept. Stop it. Let me stop doing that. But this would be a target 402.92 that I would pay close attention to. If we start dropping, like if we take out this low from a strat perspective, then we've made lower lows, and technically that would give us the bottom of a new broadening formation and a potential bounce area as well for the Qs. Now, if we continue higher, obviously this would be your target up here. Let me change this actually to, let's put target. There we go. So that would be your target up there at 429.85. Yeah, basically taking it back to even higher all-time highs. So if we do reverse, I would probably say maybe target the 425, 430 for the Qs. Probably give yourself a little bit of time. But if we continue heading down after this 212 to the downside, if we continue heading down, let me maximize it. My bad for those who maybe can't see. If we continue heading down, then yeah, you got a little gap fill along the way down here, down to 415, and then you have even more, just one more down here, and then like I said, if we cross 402, we've now made a lower low, and so therefore we have the bottom of a broadening formation. So, but if obviously if we head down lower tomorrow, shit, my bad. For the cubes, 416, I'd probably say look at either the 415 or the 410 put if we do trigger to the downside. And again, if we trigger back to the upside, I probably look for the 425. Maybe it's going to go for that gap fill, which takes you up to about 424. But yeah, like I said, with the Qs, seeing what I'm seeing on the strat, yeah, it looks bearish to me. Even with SPY, I actually had the broadening formation drawn out. We're definitely at the top of the range as well. We, kind of tapped it twice on the on the daily and then came back in. So yeah, like to me, the week has already taken, has already triggered to the downsides, and it's currently in force on the week. So obviously we have 2 days left, and so that would be our next target on the week, 469.87. I don't think it'll do that, this week. At the very least, if we do continue down, it'll probably come back and retest this monthly call entry of 477.55. But oh, my bad. Got to take all that stuff right there. But yeah, we had a pretty decent drop. No wicks at all. Yeah, so if we trigger to the downside, that's going to be the next target, 476.54. But what I would say, considering that this give me 1 second, from there to there is a fair value gap. And so this is the middle. So that should be an area that you should pay attention to, where potentially you could see a bounce. If price comes back down to, what's that, about 480? Yeah, about 480. And then you start to see it bounce and head back up. Yeah, trust it. Trust that that's what it's doing, right? That could be an area, 50% of the fair value gap being filled, and then bulls step back in and start taking it right back to the upside. All right. But yeah, from what I'm seeing, again, monthly, just like the Qs, monthly, quarter, and yearly are still bullish, but 3-week, the weekly, the 3-day, again, we do get a new 3-day candle tomorrow. 3-day went outside, 2-2 reversal on the daily to the downside. So yeah, to me, looks rather bearish. And again, this could all change. This could all change after earnings. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Work shit keeps popping up. How do I get that to close out? Where is it? That. Bluetooth, that's Zoom. Oh, there it is, Skype. Put it. There we go. Okay. No more pop-ups the rest of the night. It's my overnight team asking questions. Like, bro, you don't even know if I'm awake or not. I could be asleep. Okay. Back to, so one thing I just want to quickly look at is also the VIX. Yeah, VIX up. VIX went outside. Obviously that could change tomorrow, but VIX is was kind of bullish. Had a nice little run up today, kind of exhausted a little bit, but we'll see. Still finished bullish on the 3-day. Outside on the daily. Full time frame continuity is bullish as well too. We are currently at the bottom of a range. So yeah, honestly, I kind of like to see VIX just like bounce off this bottom already and just get it over with. I'm not hoping for bearishness. I just kind of wish the shit would just, happen, get it over with, so the next move can happen. Right now, it's like all this uncertainty, and like the back and forth is annoying the shit out of me. All right, chips. So yeah, chips has been driving the market for a long time. I don't know where Nvidia is, but and AMD, yeah, AMD took a hit, boy, for real. I did not expect it to be that bad, but AMD definitely took a hit. 3-2 to the downside, right? We're over here looking at the daily, right? Looks to be a little bit of consolidation there, and then to the downside. So maybe this could end up being a power of 3, accumulation, manipulation, and then a run up. But if not, then honestly, you do have some targets to take out to the downside here, and some gaps along the way. I'm not really going to draw them out, just kind of pointing that out. But yeah, definitely check out the 3-day, because we do have a new 3-day candle. And yeah, so far, full time frame continuity is majority bullish. But yeah, bears barely flipped this thing back into bullishness. So look out tomorrow. You may see You may see, if the day obviously goes bearish, the day and the week, not the week, I'm sorry, the day and the month could flip because it'll be a new month. The day and the month could flip back to red if the day starts off bearish. All right. Quarter will still be what it is because obviously the quarter's not over. I'm going to jump straight into materials. Ooh, what a hit, materials. And shooter vibes on the week. So, yeah, if y'all thinking puts, materials probably a good one to think about for sure. Right. On the, even came back down, tried to run up, ended up as a shooter on that too. So that's setting up on the 3-day for a 1-2 rev strat. So, maybe look for something that has a similar 3-day and, has a similar setup, and you could probably do something a little nice on them puts. Excuse me. And the same thing with the daily, you got the 2-2 reversal. Now, the daily is still making higher lows so far, but yeah, we take out this low or even that low, and yeah, back down the drain we go. Communications. Shit. What a gap down. What a gap down, especially after that run up. But yeah, communication really gonna depend on Meta. Meta does not hit. I really can see this thing like tanking. Netflix earnings was good, but I don't think Netflix runs communications. I think Meta does. So and especially after Google got massacred. I bet Disney probably got fucked up too, got caught up in the fuck up. Well, not that bad. Not so bad. But yeah, if Meta don't hit, yeah, you'll probably see the rest of the sector just dive. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it looks puttish to me, guys. I'm not seeing, looking at these charts, I'm not seeing a lot of bullishness. So I am open to a different perspective. I'm not, trying to tell y'all like only think puts, but if y'all see anything that's remotely bullish, holla at me. Let me know. I mean, I'm done. I'm listening. Um, Oil, honestly, oil may just be pulling back from the run up that it's having so far, right? We'll see how that goes, but oil may just be doing that because it was a nice little run up from the bottom of the broadening formation, and this one in particular is bouncing from the bottom of a range. So you may you may see this continue up. This could just be a retracement. It's not like the other sectors where it's doing this at the top of a range. But if it still shows you puts, then believe what you see, right? Because it is currently set up for a 3-2 rev strat to the downside on the daily for XLE. XLF, financials, nice run up for financials, but again, so far you're seeing shooter vibes on the week and then also the 3-day, and kind of went outside on the daily. So, if we continue heading lower, 3-2-2, not 2-2, sorry, 3-2 to the downside, just I would say pay attention to when the week would turn bearish, right? At what point and what price point would the week flip bearish? You're getting a new 3 days, so don't worry about that. That's probably just going to end up be a reversal if we continue down lower. On the larger time frames, though, looking like at the quarter or whatever, I kind of still like, because it's still bullish. I kind of still feel like there's an opportunity there for financials to TTO back to the upside and then ultimately hit all-time highs. But for right now, what we're probably seeing is a potential pullback before maybe possibly going the next leg higher. We'll see. But yeah, looking at the larger time frames, I kind of still like this to potentially go for that TTO, right? We're about a little bit less than $3 away from doing it. So I kind of feel like, this could potentially still go. It's just that it's probably having some corrective activity from this run up right here. All right. Hold on one second. Oh, okay. XLI, Yeah, I talked about this one in the group a little bit earlier. Yeah, the reason why I liked it potentially for puts is I'm zooming on the week real quick. Um, so there's your broad information, right? But more importantly, um, look at where price exhausted on the weekly, same area, double tapped, right? And well, almost kind of triple tapped, right? And failed, ran up, pulled back, and so technically supposed to TTO and keep pushing higher, but failed this week around the same exact area. So what I'm thinking is that we can continue, since it failed, we're looking at potentially this, maybe back down to this level here, maybe to make a lower low before possibly doing that, right? Or it could just be timber. But I don't know. You should never really count cat out. So, but I do know DE owe me money, so actually not too much money. It was only like $100 loss, but still, bitch owe me money. But yeah, that's the reason why I was like pointing out industrials. And then when you look at the daily, it kind of solidifies that a little bit more, right? Tried it twice, failed, came back right through the range. Same thing you'll see on the 3 day as well too. So yeah, that's the reason why I like it. I'll probably say chart DE, chart cat. I forget who put it out there. Maybe it was Sal's baby mama talking about UPS or FedEx, or was that maybe no, that wasn't Allie. I think it was Sal's baby mama. I'm not sure. The Panamanian one. Sal, I can't keep up with this, bro. let me stop. All right. back to the sectors. Let's stop fucking around before I get this man in trouble. Okay. XLK. So tech, yeah. I mean, obviously tech will probably fall in line along with the Qs. Um, so yeah, if the Qs are probably heading down, you probably start seeing tech heading down. But obviously, Apple's gonna weigh in a lot on that, right? So if earnings are bad for Apple, yeah, honestly, like this could really be a pretty serious bloodbath for tech if Apple. And honestly, it's not my favorite ticker in tech either. But yeah, if Apple doesn't hit, you can definitely see this shit start to drown. But if it does head back to the upside, yeah, then target the all whatever the previous all-time highs were. Maybe go out maybe $5 more. If you're playing XLK specifically.
I
You
like
know,
AMD for shorts.
I do too. AMD. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was surprised with AMD. But yeah, because even after the nice, well, why did I say that? Even after the nice run up, still exhausted and came right back down. I know it did end bullish. Really, it just needs to clear this area. If it can clear this area of lows, I can see it falling. What the hell did I tell Tamir? 155 ish, somewhere around there. I think that's what I ended up telling her. And then go from there. Where was I? Back to the sectors. Did I finish? No. XLP. I was just studying. My bad. Hold on. I was just studying the Randy Jackson setup. Is that what I see on XLB weekly? If there's follow through to the downside. Back to XLB real quick. Unless somebody knows the answer and just want to answer. Nope. Potentially, yeah. 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 If you see more downside, yeah. Um, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, 222. Yeah, 2222. I'm trying to remember it in my head, the image of it. But yes, I want to say that would be a Randy Jackson. Um, which I never actually took the time to figure out why the hell we call it Randy Jackson, but I'm gonna leave that shit alone. Back to XLP. So XLP, I know it's looking bearish, but I would say with that stock split for Walmart happening, I think, or this month, yeah, you might see Walmart run off of that stock split, right? You might, but obviously take what the chart is giving you right now. So far, we got little, shooter vibes on the week. Can't really clear this high right here. Tried to, but didn't. Obviously, the week is not done. If we can stay above this high, then we remain in force above. Actually, no, we remain in force on the strap, but this would be a bullish break of structure. So if we can remain above that, excuse me, by week end, then that would make me feel more confident on XLP going bullish. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If we can definitely break this high right here and stay above it, then yeah, XLP, excuse me, not XLB. XLP is probably going to continue bullish because as you can see, broad information wise, it's still coming from the lows. It's not like the other sectors where it's coming from the highs. So you could potentially see it push higher. Obviously, you see that it had a little run up. So this might just be a little bit of correctional activity before it pushes back up. And for the most part, even though we got shooter vibes, FTC is in bullish favor. So we'll see if XLP continues. Utilities. Yeah, so I know we had the pullback today, but when you're looking at utilities, right? So at least looking at it on the weekly, right? It's looking like a retrace. So far rejected off of a previous bullish order block, a rejection block. And then we went 2-2. So just see how the week finishes out on that. But from what it looks like so far is that this was just a corrective activity retracement. Probably draw the fibs and see if it's probably hitting equilibrium and bouncing off of that. It's kind of curious actually. Let me just go ahead and do it now. Yeah, see, so let me zoom in. So the 0.5 would be equilibrium. There's your 0.5, dip below it and bounce. So if this continues to hold above the equilibrium, which potentially you're going to see is that, but then probably that, and then probably coming back to retest. It would first need to clear this double top over here, 64.90, but yeah, if it clears that, then probably coming back to retest this previous monthly high. XLV. So didn't really pay attention to Lily. What were we thinking on Lily? Calls, puts? Anybody? Let me see what's up. Randy Jackson, 2-2, 2-down, 2-down, 2-up, 2-down, 2-down, 2-up. Oh, it was named after. Oh, you know what, dude? When I hear Randy Jackson, I was thinking of the judge off of American Idol. And for the life of me, how many years have I've been trading Strat? And I'm really trying. I'm like imagining this dude's face. I'm like, maybe he got something to do with his face. Because Randy kind of got a little bit of a lazy eye. So I'm like, all right, maybe like one eye looking down, and then, you know, I don't know, bro. Like I was trying to put like the 2 bars, like the 4 bars over his eyes. I'm like, all right, maybe the lazy eye is the one pointing down or some shit like that. But it was named after his friend. Thank God, finally. Good Lord. No, for real, yo. I thought it had to do with the judge. The one that be like, "Come on, dog," or whatever the fuck he says. I don't really watch American Idol. Rob don't know nothing about. That. I don't know nothing about that man either. Just be like, he always be like, "Come on, dog," if it's like a bad performance, some shit like that. Anyway, thank you for that clarification, Drake. You the real MVP. All right. Y'all stop laughing at me. Okay, back to healthcare. Not sure what we're thinking about Lily, but as far as healthcare is concerned, honestly, looking at the 3 day, right, and then even if you kind of look at the daily, um, we've made lower lows, so we did take out this high over here and exhausted. So essentially, we can either keep coming back down through the range to make another lower low. But then when you look at the 3 days, honestly, it just seems like we just like when you pay attention to just the bodies of the candles, we kind of been sitting in the same range. Like any wick is just immediately been pulled in. So to me, that looks like accumulation. And again, anybody's welcome to give a different perspective, but it just looks like accumulation. Now, this week is not done. What I would like to see, if we're going to continue bullish for healthcare, I would like to see this high taken out permanently and price just stays above that 140, 156, right? Because you got the run up. This will be your pullback, and then we TTO back to the upside and stay up there. But we'll see. We'll see how the rest of the market is feeling. And I believe this would take us to even higher highs. So because of that, what could also happen is that this was a retest of those highs and we failed. And so therefore, price is now eventually going to do this, right? So that's another theory, and that's another thing that could potentially happen with healthcare. Um, Pay attention to what healthcare is doing. But yeah, that's essentially what could happen. If the week ends and we're below it and we wick the same in the same area, to me that would tell me that next week we could probably end up going and set up for a 3-2-2 rev strap back to the downside for healthcare. In which case, yeah, I would probably find something that looks similarly set up, maybe something that's also at all-time highs. And if it looks kind of similar on the weekly, then yeah, it probably gonna end up, puts probably gonna end up paying pretty well. All right. And then this XLY, honestly, consumer discretionary is going to depend on Amazon earnings. Right now, it's looking bearish as hell. FTC is even bearish. That's really, and if the week were to end today, obviously it's not going to end today, but if the week were to end today, we set up as a holy grail, and then the inside candle is actually an actionable signal as a shooter, which would signal to go puts. And honestly, it wouldn't be a bad thing. All this right here is a PMG setup to the downside. All that liquidity, it's got to get taken out at some point, right? It may not be all in one shot, but it's got to be taken out at some point. So, yeah, I wouldn't trip if we do go bearish. Just obviously change up your strategy a little bit. But again, this could all change if Amazon's earnings are good. All right, so there you go. All right, that's everything in a nutshell. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of, let's do it like this actually. So we're gonna take this one, leave that as that. We're gonna take that one and leave that as that. And I'll take that and leave that as a week. There we go. Okay. So first thing, we're gonna take a look at Lily, but then I'm also gonna mix in what I've been looking at as well too. Lily, I've been waiting, I've been plotting puts, just waiting. I'm not really buying the hype. Got it. All right. So with Lily, yeah. So Lily's kind of the same similar situation as what I said with what I said about XLV in general. Where is this the week? So voila, boom, boom, and then well, I mean technically you can even put that's a low. Why are you not clicking, bro? Come on. Voila to that. Well, taking out that low, or it can even be to that, or it can even be that to that. We could probably get rid of this one. All right. So, okay. So strat wise, these would be the areas that you would get rid of you because that's all old shit. All this is old shit. All right. So, um, yeah. So if it continues the way that it's going, right? It ended up being. I know. I think Sal had gotten into puts. Essentially, what all that happened is I'm pretty sure it got to about 50% of the way of this of this fair value gap. Yeah, see, basically hit the 50 and then bounced off of that. And then also when things are when things are falling down, what was resistance can also act as support. So dip below, came back up. But I do honestly kind of like this to come down, Lily. So we could potentially get the 3-2 to the downside tomorrow. But yeah, 3-1 Holy Grail can end up going 3-1-2. We got the shooter vibes on the week. So if we trigger to the downside, 637 would be where you take entry. Honestly, because of its ATR, I'll probably shoot for that 624. Because it's a $13 ATR, so I'll probably shoot for that. More it probably will hit that in a week, right? So what's that about a 13? Yeah, that's a $13 move right there, actually. But if you're looking to swing it, then yeah, I would just say I would probably shoot for this right here. But be careful considering that these three candles have all wicked around the same area. I'd probably say maybe shoot for like the 615 put, excuse me, or 620 put. That's probably what I'd say to shoot for that. But yeah, I would definitely like this to come down. If it does continue pushing up tomorrow, actually no, I think that's the same high.
What time frame you looking off of?
The week, the daily, and then the 270 minute.
All
right. So honestly, I don't really like taking all-time highs as entries, bro. I really don't. So if it triggers to the call, I'll probably say don't touch it. Honestly, I would really prefer a retracement and then a push up. But taking an entry that is an all-time high like I don't know, bro. That's like, to me, that spells danger for potential like immediate exhaustion risk and just coming like, because that could just be the bulls trying to make a higher high and immediately exhausting above that buy side liquidity and just coming right back down through the range. So what I would say from a puts perspective, not a strats perspective, if you see price do that, come up and make a high and just immediately start falling back and failing through the range, I probably say, like, draw your fib, your 50, and if it comes below that and holds below that, I'll probably say, yeah, you could probably take that early entry to the downside. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, let me see something. What's the 2-day? Yeah, 2 days bullish, 3 days giving shooter vibes as well too. Yeah, I feel like this is setting up for to just come down, right? It did what it was supposed to do, took out the highs, made all-time highs, and then yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah, man. To me, I probably play this to the downside, honestly. But yeah, that's probably what I look at. If it triggers to the downside, 630. Like if you feeling like you want to keep it close, you could probably look at the 630s. 635 would probably be too close. With this ATR, it'll probably eat that quickly. Excuse me, because that's like an $8 move. So yeah, I'll probably say 630s. And then if it's good, then you could probably swing it into Friday. Especially if earnings don't hit. If earnings don't hit, we're probably having a bloody Friday. Just saying. I'm not, y'all don't hold me to that, but if earnings don't hit, we're probably gonna have a bloody Friday. Which will be cool because we make money either way. We're not bulls, we're not bears, we are bulliers. All right, that's Lily. Next I want to look at AMD. So AMD is actually already given the pullback. So a couple areas where I have where we could potentially fall to, right? Let me open this up real quick. So because I know you're heavily in tune with this particular ticker, right? So you have this fair value gap. Sorry. That's a structure break and fair value gap. Ultimately, if we do drop, I think this is where we'll probably find some support back down to 150. And my oh my, the opportunity on calls will be massive. Because ultimately, I mean, chips ain't going nowhere, AI ain't going nowhere. So I imagine that AMD's
I
probably.
think it's best. I think it's best to chart this one either on that 4 hour or that 195 minute.
What, that is going down?
No, I'm just saying chart it.
Well, from the 4 hour, from what you've seen on the 4 hour is, the shooter vibes, right? So that's going to set you up for the 2-2 reversal on the 4 hour. From what I'm seeing from here, it cleared the lows.
Mm-hmm.
It cleared the lows and then, it came back in. That's what made a broadening formation. So if we keep going down lower, it can either come down and hit this low here, make a lower low, and then bounce back up, or this same, because we wicked over here before, this same level might be a level that it'll wick off of again and continue pushing right back up. Either way, if that does happen, if it does continue lower,
I got sell side liquidity at 158.22. And basically if it trigger based on market structure, then you basically just lay the wood on that motherfucker and load the boats because that bitch gonna pay.
Oh, from off the 195, got it. Um,
Now I'm saying this right, ICTY.
no.
I mean, I know Drake.
So I'm
I
sorry.
know Drake. I know Drake is in here, so he, both of y'all far more, further along on it than I am.
With the sell side liquidity, so here's all right, so we got to get through this hoop first, from a strat perspective, right? Because it already proved that it took out the lows, and then this is an area clearly that the bulls, right? And here's why. Boom, boom, boom. Shit, that's not what I meant for it to do. Hold on, my bad. There, and then voila. Right? So that's an area of exhaustion. This candle kind of did exactly the same thing, exhausted in the same range. So that would be the first hurdle, clearing, was that 162? Basically 160. Let's just say 160s. But yes, if we can clear, I think the 158.22 that you're talking about. So if we can clear and drop below that, right? And then come back, most likely price will probably come back to retest. Especially if it takes out this low first, as well too. Like if it takes both of these out at the same time, it's probably going to come back to retest this. And then if it bounces and continues down, hell yeah, load up on them fucking puts, because that shit is probably dropping down to this low. Actually, most likely this low. What's that, 143? So that's gonna be a long-term play though. Like that's not something that's gonna happen this week, y'all. So this is just us thinking the trade through if it continues. And that's where, I mean, if we do drop there, this would probably be the area where I would say for sure we'll probably bounce, because there's a bullish rejection block, of unmitigated bullish fair value gap, and also another bullish order block as well too. So none of those have been mitigated unless something drastically happens news wise with AMD. That's probably where I would say we would definitely, I'd be willing to bet my paycheck will probably bounce around that area. All right. But yeah, definitely looking bullish for sure. 270-minute. Yeah, shooter vibes on the 270. So we are set up for a 2-2 reversal to the downside on the 270 or basically the 4 hour. Yeah, same thing, right? The triggers. So if you want, you could, if you're planning to like just like day trade it, you could probably take the entry off the 4 hour, and I would say target the 160s. Excuse me. I would say target the 160s. And yeah, honestly, if it plays into what Sal's trying to do, which is down to the 158s, I mean, shit, by the time it hits 158, at that point you should be thinking taking a little profit. But yeah, it'll be a nice ass trade, yo.
If you get the 160s, man, you can get quite a bit of contracts. So let me see.
Yeah, because I
Shit, for
didn't look
eight
at
hundred
price.
dollars, you can get 20 contracts for $800. That's cheap as fuck.
Yeah, there you go. So if
Man, look here,
anybody's
30 contracts for $1,200. Man, you get 40-50%. That motherfucker, you good. You don't need no other trade.
yeah. So um for those of you, because I don't know how many people on this chat are, but I know a lot of people in the group are watching AMDs. So there you go, yo. It could end up being um it could end up being a really nice ass trade. Like, so just pay attention to that. And obviously, and I like it, I honestly like it better than Nvidia because it's just cheaper. And
Yeah,
honestly, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I actually have made more money off of AMD than I have Nvidia. So but yeah, I mean, this is a really nice
and
setup for
Nvidia moves too much like Alley.
oh God, here we go. You about to start some shit, boy. About to start some shit. Okay, let me keep it moving before we start seeing the curse words and oh, she ain't paying attention because ain't nothing come up in the chat. All right, you got away with it, Sal. You got away with it. All right, so another thing, and I'm gonna keep it a stack. The reason why I didn't alert this is because it's expensive, right? The contract I had gotten in is expensive. But shit, did I do the wrong thing? Hold up, my bad. All right. Adobe Son. I like Adobe more because of what I'm seeing on the week. All right, not necessarily the day. Even though the day is down 212 reversal to the downside, um, I like what I'm seeing on the weekly, which is we came up after making this high. We came up to
Man, that
retest.
bitch still $2 after market though. That's the only thing about that motherfucker. That's
It
what pissed me off.
it does it.
That
I know.
that
It does.
price kept on bouncing up and down. Like I mean
Yeah,
that candle.
yeah.
That shit was aggravating.
As a matter of fact, you know, it's funny. That Friday it was down. I was in calls, and then Monday opened up. The shit ran. So I've learned that about Adobe. Like, don't really pay attention to what the fuck happens in aftermarket because with her ATR, she'll do what the fuck she wants to do.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, man. You ever look at it and it seemed like that motherfucker, that damn candle, the active candle, just be stuck or something.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, that like I'm really learning how like Adobe moves, which is why I wasn't freaking out when it was doing the little fluctuating shit and like kind of keeping still
Yeah,
towards the end of the market. I'm like, trust in what you're seeing, bro. Trust in what you're seeing because
man. That bitch, it's like that bitch will move like forward, then all of a sudden that bitch will
just
move like
stop.
AVG on your ass.
Right. um, but yeah, what I'm seeing, right? And boom, right? So we had this high over here, that high over here. So price is basically wicked through both of the highs and came right back down. And obviously we're kind of starting up a little bit of a shooter. Um, so I want to see how the week ends. That's why I got into next week. So I gave myself time. But the lucky number to turn the week bearish is 61571. That could all happen tomorrow. I know FTC right now is completely bullish, but I'm going based off of the fact that we have failed to basically get above this area, right? Once, twice, this candle tried it, failed. This candle did. It made higher highs, exhausted, and came right back in. Oh shit, she's back. So she heard you. She put C. So it's about to start. Let me get through this one first before you start cursing at him. Y'all some trouble though, for real. And then also when you look at the 270-minute, I kind of like how that ended as well too. Again, set up for a 2-2 reversal to the downside as well too. So so far, like just looking at, we're wicking off that fair value gap. So I want to kind of see what it does tomorrow. But yeah, I would love to see it get through. Why I chose the 605 is because this is the beginning of a bullish order block, 604.32. So I would love to see it just kind of eat through that fair value gap as a pullback, come back down to 604.32, probably pull my profits somewhere around there. Hopefully we can get it done possibly tomorrow, fingers crossed. And yeah, we go from there. All right. What was the other one? I think somebody had put in KRE. Let me put that shit in real. Oh yeah, I like this. Wait, did I type in it right? KRE? Yeah, okay, I did type it in right. KRE, yeah. Bama. Oh yeah, Bama. Okay, I know who it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, definitely I like it. What's in what specific, I don't know what specific tickers are in this ETF, but I mean shit. It definitely, especially when you look at the week, right? Like failure to get above, failure to launch, pretty much, right? It's like been basically tapping into this range for a little bit, and just yeah, bulls just could not get that shit done. So, um, to me, we could probably start eating through this run up here. Coming back down through the range. We did gap down on the daily and then ended up as a shooter. So yeah, I'd definitely be looking at puts for this. Are you looking at a specific ticker in this or just ETF in general? Are you going to be trading the ETF in general? In which case, if that's the case, then yeah, that should be your target on the daily. Um, probably the 40, if there is one, 40, either the 49 put or the 48.5, if there is one. I don't really know how the contracts are set up for this particular ticker, but yeah, no, I would definitely, if this triggers to the downside, I would have no problem taking this at all. And I would like to see it take out that low, and it would make a lower low on the weekly, and therefore there's your broad information as well too. So good eye for that one. I wonder what happened that made it drop 5%. Golly, good night. It's like shit like that. It could have made a banger off of, right? Just like UPS. Look at that shit. Yo, could have made a banger. Like this would have been entry right here. 156.53. That would have been weekly entry. Oh, never mind. It gapped all the way down to here today. So probably entry would have been somewhere in here. But shit. Imagine if you would have gotten in early though. Oh, fuck. What a drop. NYCB go down bad today. Yeah. What a drop, yo. UPS. Which is, again, that's part of the XLI sector, which again, that's why I'm saying like y'all should really pay attention to some tickers in there. Because yeah, even FedEx looks pretty decent for to continue. Now, well, actually, there is a potential for it to bounce, considering that it did make lower lows here. But looking at the weekly looks like it still wants to keep continuing down. So if there is a little bit of a bounce, I'd probably say pay attention to what happens on Friday then. Or maybe it's looking to just continue past this low. So we'll see. On Twitter, they said they did a strike, gave them a pay raise, and laid all those mother. you know, no, I kind of had a feeling that that was going to come next, right? Once, I saw, oh, they awarded their workers that I'm like, Yeah, but a company like that's going to have to figure out a way to offset that expense. And how are they going to offset it? They're going to fire people, right? Because that's the only real tangible way they can control their expenses, right? The gas and the fuel, they can't control that. The trucks, the maintenance, they can't control that. That's a given. It's going to happen. Um, you know, the the rates, to fly it all over the world. Again, that can't be controlled. What they can control is the human part, the overhead. So yeah, I was like, it's like watch over the next couple of months, they're going to report that they're going to start laying people off, and lo and behold, that's what happened. Now I'm not saying like the increase in pay was a bad thing. I'm just saying like that's how they're going to offset that. Would love to maybe catch a setup of still of the chart. See, and so that's one of the things that that's where honestly, like looking at the higher time frames in the strat helps to maybe find the possible setups before they begin. That's why I say don't dismiss a ticker just because it's not immediately doing something the next day. You know what I'm saying? As well as honestly, since I've been learning the ICT, it has allowed me to see the setups before, like, Strat even tells you entering and shit. You know what I mean? Um, it even still like management, like it's still humans, right? Like I'm not talking like the regular workers, but the point is that they would get rid of you know somebody's job. It's going, it's not that they're gonna like they can't cut the cost of the other expenses that they have to take care of. So that somebody's going to end up losing, and in this case, it's management. And that may seem like cool, at least the average Joe is not losing his job. But keep in mind that those people in management are humans too, and they still got families to feed. And it could be middle management. It may not be like the top of the company. You know what I'm saying? So like some of them people like are depending on that job. So anyway, so but yeah, exactly right. Those liquidity sweeps. So yeah, that's how you're able to see certain things before they start kicking off. Um, that's honestly how I kind of saw oil before it started kicking off. I know it had a bad day today, but during the run up earlier, you know. But yeah, what was the other one? XLF. We already did XLF. Lily, KRE. Oh, so I already did them all. Wow, it's actually going to be a short night. Um, but let's actually look at some of the ones that are for earnings, right? So, all right, so let's give it both ways. If Amazon were to go bullish, if Amazon were to go bullish, boom, boom. So those are going to be your two entries. If Amazon triggers to the upside, the 159, honestly, I'd probably say keep it tight and go for the 162, if that's there. Like, hold on, let me look at the targets. 1 second. Amazon. This week. Yeah, with the 162.5. Reasons why I actually keep it a stack. If it triggers the 159, I might hold off on entering for calls. And the reason why I say that is because the ATR is $3. So if it gets to 159, it's already extended past its ATR from 155. That's a $4 move. So it might exhaust at that point. So just be careful with that. If it does take calls, I probably might wait for it to maybe pull back, and then tomorrow probably wait till after earnings. Unless again some immaculate news comes out and you want to risk it, cool, do your thing. But you should be aware of that. If it triggers to the downside, that 154, you should be aware of a couple of different levels. That one and that. And if we can clear that, we can come all the way down to here. All right. Obviously, it probably is not going to do that by tomorrow, but if we trigger the 154, you can probably go after the 150s or the 152.5 if you want it to, be close. And I don't believe that they're that expensive. Are they? Let me see. 152.5 is 390. So yeah, a little bit expensive. Probably want to grab maybe one, maybe two contracts at most. And the 150 is 288. So just be careful with that. But yeah, that's probably how I play it. If it does trigger to the downside, those would be your targets that you need to look at. And just definitely around this area, the 152.74, because this is the beginning of the fair value gap. So you could potentially see a bounce from there afterwards. All right. If Meta were to so if Meta hits, it's probably going back to all-time highs, right? As far as earnings go. So in which case, not telling you to get in beforehand because that's gambling, but you can probably look to target maybe the 410s, 415s if guidance and earnings are all good and everything's completely bullish on Meta. All right. That's probably the way that I would play it. But if we trigger to the downside, the 387.10, more than likely we're probably going to take out this low. So I would probably say I'll probably target this as my first target, the 380s, 381.16. But again, I'll probably shoot for 380s. Because that's right at the start of the fair value gap. It could probably dip into that before bouncing, but yeah, that's probably where I'll tell you to shoot for, based off of this ATR having an $8.50 ATR. What's your thoughts on UNH? I've been riding it up since it reversed at 479. Should profit today when it filled the gap at 513. Look at you. Looking for a pullback to get back in because I think it's not done yet. Yeah, it could potentially not be done yet, based off of what I'm seeing on the daily. Yeah, definitely still some targets to take out too. Nice gap fill. Yeah, there's definitely still targets to take out on the way up, for sure. I wonder. That was interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I gotta send an alert and watch this. It'll be interesting to see if it plays out the way I think it will. But yeah, you definitely have some room for it to run up, right? Obviously, that'll be your next target at 521.73. So yeah, if it does pull back, let me see. Got a nice little fair value gap over here. So yeah, if it does pull back, probably pay attention to that area. If you start to see it exhaust and bounce off of it, in which case, yeah, you could probably put the contract target as this high right here, the 515. I'm sorry, the strike of 515, but then really you're targeting it for it to go to 521.73. And if it's really feeling froggy, the next high would be at 530.66. So, but yeah, I can agree with your sentiment as far as like not being done yet. Let me actually, that's based off of the week, excuse me, the daily. Yeah. because it had. Okay. Right now it's sitting at the 0.62, just barely getting above equilibrium. Okay, so yeah, if it can clear that 513 and hold above it, then it's no longer at a discount. It's at a premium, and it could continue pushing up on the weekly up back into this range. But yeah, I can definitely see what you mean as far as like more room to the upside. Yeah, this is the run up, the pullback, and then this might be the next leg up that you're kind of alluding to. I like it. I like it, Ali. I like it a lot. I mean, how it could potentially be a run back to all-time highs, really. If it, obviously, if everything plays, if it plays out, I like it though. All right. Yeah, that's it for me. I just when it comes to like big earnings and big like a lot of shit going on this week, I really kind of keep the watch list kind of tight. Actually, there was one more I just wanted to look at with everybody. Uh, okay, so yeah, Wells Fargo. Um, shit, I didn't mean to. Well, whatever. Fuck it. There we go. Wells Fargo is one that I think we should keep eyes on because I think we could potentially get that reversal back to the downside. Let me see how did the three. Yeah, see, so um, run up, pull back, touch, exhausted after making those higher highs. Hell, even exhausted below this high as well too, and came back in. So, seeing unless the week closes drastically bullish, we could potentially start seeing the pullback and for Wells Fargo, a lot of liquidity to eat up as well too. So yeah, if it triggers back to the downside, goes 3-2 down tomorrow. It's a small account friendly as well too. I'd probably say based off of like it's having a small ATR. I'd probably say if you want to keep it close, would probably say the 50 put or 1 second. And I would definitely give this like next week time, not necessarily this week. At least next week. Oh shit, it's already moved 64 cents. Okay. In that case, shit, if that happens. Yeah, you could probably look at the 49 or the 48.5. And again, small account friendly, really cheap as well too. So I'm just throwing that out there. All right, y'all. If there are no other questions or concerns, I'm gonna go ahead and say love, peace, and chicken grease, and I will see y'all tomorrow in the group chat. All the banks look like this BAC2. Yeah, so clearly something going on with XLF. Clearly something going on with XLF. But yeah, probably this Sunday I'll probably have a little bit more of a refined watch list. It's just that I know like market's uncertain right now. So when that happens, I don't really put too much time into charting hardcore, looking at hybrid time frames, etc. Simply because tomorrow all of that shit could change based off of what happens with earnings and what happens with FOMC. So we'll probably have something a little bit more refined for Sunday. All right, talk to y'all soon, and I'll try to post this video before the night is over. But a brother is tired. All right, y'all. Deuces.